Welcome to Zodiac Talks Tarot, a space where stargazers, truth seekers, and yes, you fiery Aries souls both new and returning gather for clarity in the chaos. Whether this is your first time dipping your toes into the cosmic current or you've been riding solar flares with me for a while now, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Now, let's talk September 2025. This isn't just another month, this is your chapter in the year of triumph. And as your longtime astrological guide, part philosopher, part psychologist, and a recovering overthinker with a fondness for dramatic metaphors, I'll tell it to you straight, the mask drops this month. Truth isn't hiding in the shadows anymore, it's barging through the front door, kicking off its boots, and asking why you've been ignoring the obvious. But don't freak out. This isn't the end, it's your awakening. As any seasoned Aries knows, clarity doesn't whisper, it roars. And if you've been sensing that something or someone wasn't quite right, this month brings confirmation. Sometimes life doesn't send a sign, it sends a storm. And lucky for you, Aries, you are the fire that dances in the middle of it. So grab your courage, which you never really lose, tuck in that impulsive streak, just a little, and let's explore what the universe is unraveling for you. Spoiler alert, illusions don't stand a chance. And neither does anyone who underestimated your inner strength. Welcome home, Aries. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Iansã, the cosmic stormbringer, the goddess who doesn't knock before entering your life with thunder in her eyes and a broom made of lightning. She's not here to coddle you. She's here to clean house. This month, she's the celestial regent presiding over your journey, Aries. And let me tell you, she doesn't believe in subtlety. If you're expecting gentle hints from the universe, think again. Iansã doesn't whisper like Mercury, she blasts open doors like a divine hurricane yelling, "Wake up, babe. You've got illusions to burn." Under her rule, secrets don't just come to light, they come crashing through the ceiling. That friend you thought had your back? You might find out they were holding the knife. That job you thought was stable? It might wobble like a Jenga tower built on wishful thinking. But don't misunderstand, this isn't cosmic punishment. It's spiritual pest control. In Buddhist wisdom, there's a saying, when the house is on fire, don't cry over the wallpaper. Get out, then rebuild. That's exactly what Iansã does, she burns away what no longer serves, so you can finally see what's been dragging you down. And let's be honest, Aries, something's been bubbling beneath your surface for too long. You've felt it. Maybe you ignored it. But now? It's erupting. Not because you failed, but because you're finally strong enough to face it. So brace yourself, not for disaster, but for liberation. Iansã doesn't bring storms to destroy you. She brings them to reveal you. Let's drop the act, Aries. You've known something was off. That one coworker who claps a little too hard when you stumble? The so-called friend who only calls when you're winning? Or maybe that love interest whose promises are smoother than jazz but thinner than tissue paper? Yeah. Them. September is your cosmic exposé. No more squinting through rose-colored glasses. This is the great reveal, and spoiler alert, once you see it, you can't unsee it. The tarot doesn't lie. When death, the Eight of Swords, and the ever-scheming fox show up in one spread, that's not subtle, it's spiritual surround sound. Betrayal doesn't always wear a villain's cape. Sometimes it shows up in a smile, a well-timed compliment, or just checking in. So why didn't you catch it sooner? Simple. You believed in their potential. That's not weakness, it's loyalty. And Aries, you've got that in spades. But loyalty without reciprocity? That's charity. And even Buddhists will tell you compassion doesn't mean being a doormat. As someone who's studied human behavior and the stars for decades, here's a little insight from the intersection of Carl Jung and karma. Once you start doubting someone's intentions, the soul already knows what the mind's trying to deny. This month, trust that voice in your head. The one that sounds suspiciously like your higher self. You're not being dramatic. You're being clear. And clarity, my dear Aries, is the beginning of power. Welcome to your wake-up call served hot, no sugar. Here's the truth, Aries, and I say this as someone who's studied thousands of charts, human nature, and enough family drama to write 3 soap operas. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is walk away and not look back. September is your permission slip from the universe to do just that. No guilt, no apology, no exit interview required. This month, you're not being cold. You're being clear. Whether it's a coworker who drains your energy like a cracked iPhone battery, a friend who only shows up when they need something, or a family member who's mastered the art of passive aggression, it might be time to say, thanks for the memories, but I'm good. And yes, they might be shocked. Aries is usually the one to stay loyal long past the expiration date. But here's the thing, you're a fire sign, not a fire extinguisher. You're here to ignite, not constantly put out other people's messes. Iansã, the storm goddess herself, is guiding this energy. She doesn't ask permission, she sweeps through, clears the debris, and dares you to breathe freer. This is what Buddhists call compassionate detachment, loving from a distance, without sacrificing your peace. So, Aries, cut the cord. Not out of spite, but out of sacred self-respect. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because they've had a front row seat in the past. And if anyone calls you harsh, just smile, sip your tea, and say, I'm not ruthless, I am just finally rooting for myself. Let's talk money, Aries, not just the dollars in your wallet, but the energy behind the exchange. This month, the universe is less interested in your bank balance and more curious about who's orbiting your success like it's a buffet and you're the main course. Sound dramatic? Maybe. But if you've lived long enough and I've read enough charts to know you'll realize that where money flows, so do motives. So here's your astrological PSA, if someone starts flashing there, can you just help me with one little thing? Eyes, pause. Not every favor is innocent, and not every request is about mutual support. Some people treat generosity like a vending machine, put in a compliment, expect results. And Aries, you're generous to a fault. But this month, you're not the vending machine, you re the vault. Ask yourself, honestly, are they showing up for you, or just what you offer? Because being the gateway to opportunity feels great until you realize folks are just stampeding through without even saying thank you. The cards don't lie. There's energy around you being used, and not in the cute I'm busy and booked way, but in the draining, take what they can and ghost way. So here's where Iansã steps in again, storm broom in hand. She sweeps away the opportunists. And yes, choosing yourself might disappoint a few people who were never truly invested in you to begin with. But that's their karma, not your burden. And if someone calls you selfish, remind them kindly, boundaries are spiritual. And even Buddha wouldn't give his last robe to someone with a laundry list of demands. Let's shift gears, Aries. This isn't just about cutting ties with toxic people. It's about curating your entire ecosystem. Your health, your home, your peace of mind, all of it matters. You're not Marie Kondoing your closet, you're soul-level decluttering. And trust me, that's no small feat for a sign that thrives in chaos like it's caffeine. Now, the cards threw down a combo that's too wise to ignore, the fox and the tree. Translation? There's something in your health realm that's been sneakily simmering under the surface. You might feel fine, but fine isn't the same as optimal. If you've been brushing off that nagging symptom, that overdue checkup, or that gut feeling that something's off, stop it. The solution, thank you, Chave card, is within reach, but only if you pay attention. This isn't fear, it's foresight. And while we're at it, let's talk sacred space. Your home isn't just where you toss your keys, it's where your energy regenerates. So if you're in the middle of a housing change, lease signing, roommate shuffle, or even just moving your plants around to improve the feng shui, go slow. If it feels off, it probably is. The universe might be delaying things not to frustrate you but to protect you from something you can't see yet. Divine detours exist for a reason. Buddhists say the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. So if your body or your space is feeling off balance, that's your cue to pause, not push. Even Aries needs rest stops on the way to greatness. Yes, even you. Let's talk career, Aries. And I mean real talk, not the follow your bliss and everything magically works out kind, but the kind that includes heartbreak, plot twists, and, yes, eventual upgrades. The cards tell a story this month and it starts with a thud. The Three of Swords linked with the High Priestess, or Papissa, for my fellow esoteric nerds, suggests you might face a professional letdown. Maybe a job you were excited about doesn't pan out. Maybe someone at work goes behind your back. Maybe you put your heart into something, and got crickets in return. Now, don't throw your laptop out the window just yet. Because here comes the pivot, the 9 and 2 of Pentacles walk in like, hey, sorry about the mess, wanna build something better. This is what I call divine career Jiu-Jitsu, when the universe redirects you because you're ready for more, even if your ego isn't quite on board yet. Entrepreneurs, my fiery innovators, you're not off the hook either. Watch out for charming collaborators who turn into contractual cautionary tales. Read the fine print twice. Then go plant your own flag. This is fertile ground, especially for chosen ones, yes, that includes you, who are ready to turn their calling into a tangible path. Psychologically speaking, disappointment at work often reveals more about our values than our skills. And spiritually, sometimes rejection is just redirection with a higher salary and less nonsense. So, Aries, take the detour. The road ahead might not be the one you planned, but it's probably the one that finally feels like yours. And let's be honest, you were never built for cubicles anyway. Let's talk love, Aries, and no, not the heart eyes, rom-com soundtrack kind. I'm talking about real love, the kind that's messy, healing, and sometimes involves deleting texts at 2 a.m. This month, you're not chasing butterflies. You're rebuilding your inner empire brick by sacred brick. And honestly, that's way sexier than any serenade from someone who can't even hold eye contact during conflict. If your heart's been through it lately, you're not alone. You're also not broken, you're becoming refined. The Hermit and Strength show up in your love placement like two wise elders saying, rest, don't rush. Know yourself before offering that fire to someone else. You're learning that solitude doesn't mean loneliness. Sometimes it's the soul's version of spa day, except with more journaling and less cucumber slices. Yes, someone may be watching you, thanks, Fofoquira Energy Tarot's favorite tea spiller. Maybe it's a secret admirer. Maybe it's an ex wondering how you got hotter after heartbreak. But here's the twist, you're not handing out access just because someone shows interest. That's growth, Aries. You're not playing hard to get, you are hard to forget. From a psychological lens, this is called emotional boundaries. From a Buddhist perspective, it's called non-attachment. From your astrologer who's seen some things perspective, it's called finally knowing your worth. So take your time. Love isn't on hold, it's just being rewired. And the next person lucky enough to receive your loyalty, they'd better come correct. Because Aries, your heart isn't a toy. It's a temple. Admission requires alignment and possibly snacks. Ah yes, patience, the spiritual virtue Aries were absolutely not built for. Telling an Aries to wait is like telling a jet engine to just take a breath. If you've ever seen a caffeinated squirrel trying to do yoga, you get the picture. And yet, here we are. The cards this month are dropping some divine comedy. Wait a little longer, they say. For the house. For the job offer. For the closure, the apology, the green light you've been pacing the floor for. Now, as someone who's spent decades studying not just the zodiac, but also human nature and how we self-sabotage with expectations, let me tell you, delays aren't denials. They're divine detours. And for fiery Aries, delays often feel like punishment. But what if they're actually protection? What if the apartment that slipped through your fingers had a leaky roof and bad karma? What if that job would have boxed in your brilliance? What if that person who still hasn't apologized never learned how to love you right in the first place? Buddhist philosophy teaches us that waiting is an act of mindfulness, not passivity. It's the space where clarity is born. And believe it or not, sometimes the universe moves slower than your ambition because it's aligning something better. Something with more soul, less chaos. So breathe, Aries. Yes, I know that's your least favorite word. But trust me, what's truly meant for you won't require begging, chasing, or impulsive decisions disguised as spontaneity. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is sit still and let the storm pass, without trying to outrun it on a flaming motorcycle. Let's close this chapter with a truth that every Aries needs tattooed on their soul: not every burden is yours to carry. That's not just spiritual wisdom, that's emotional survival. One of the most transformative realizations in both psychology and Buddhist teaching is understanding where your responsibilities end and someone else's begin. And let's be real, Aries, you've got a bit of a superhero complex. You're the first responder to emotional fires, the cheerleader when others are down, the fixer when things fall apart. But here's the kicker, you're not the repair crew for the entire zodiac. The oracle this month offers a simple, profound reminder: return what is not meant for you. That guilt you're carrying for someone else's decisions? Not yours. That responsibility for keeping peace in a relationship that's one-sided? Not yours. That emotional backpack full of someone else's drama? Drop it. With love, of course. As we move deeper into the year of triumph 2025, your greatest act of power isn't pushing harder. It's knowing when to step back. To say, that's not mine. This isn't abandonment, it's alignment. When you stop over-functioning in everyone else's story, you get to finally show up fully in your own. So, dear Aries, when the metaphorical hurricane hits this September, and let's be honest, it will, let it strip away the dead weight. You were never meant to be everyone's emotional storage unit. You were meant to blaze, not burden. Because here's the cosmic twist: after the storm, you won't just survive. You'll shine. Not in a loud, flashy, look at me way, but in that quiet, radiant glow that comes from someone who's done the inner work and chosen freedom. You're not losing anything that's real. You're just shedding what's fake, what's heavy, and what's long past its expiration date. And if anyone dares to ask why you suddenly look lighter, calmer, or oddly unbothered, just lean in, smile like you know something they don't, and say, chosen ones always rise after the storm. So now's the moment, Aries. Don't just walk forward, dance, laugh, breathe. Enjoy your life. You've earned this peace. And remember, your flame was never meant to be tamed, it was meant to illuminate. If this message lit something up inside you, honor the power of Iansã this month by dropping a comment, EPAREI or Salvo Reo. Like this video, share it with your fellow fire signs, and don't forget to subscribe to Zodiac Talks Tarot. This isn't the end, this is your rise. And trust me, your next chapter? It's going to be unforgettable.